It's been a while, but we are back. I'm Rob.
And I'm Ashley.
This is Life Rewired. Let's jump right into it. Today, we're going to talk about the things that you should not say to someone who has survived a brain injury. And I'll start off with the first topic, which would be the biggest one everyone hates to hear is you look fine. And the reason I hate this so much is because I'll give you an example. I drove to a neighbor's house the other day to drop off a package, and the daughter comes out and says, "You're driving. You must be better." Like there is some connection between driving and being better. I mean, how many of us that have brain injuries drive all the time? So that really ticked me off, and I said, "Well, I finally let it go." But that's just not something you say to somebody with a brain injury. To me, it's the same thing as going up to someone that's got cancer and saying, "Oh, you look great today. You must have kicked cancer." That has nothing to do with looking good. You know what I'm saying? What do you feel?
No, I totally get it. Again, it circles back to the whole concept of it being like an invisible injury for the most part. I mean, like, I know talking to you, you have like the thing where certain numbers you can't say, like instead of 70, it's 70. Well, if I
Right.
were normally talking to you, I would have no idea anything was happening. But as soon as, you start saying like 70 or 150, then you kind of catch on to, okay, something's a little bit off. So yeah, it's definitely something that's more of an invisible injury, but just because somebody looks fine on the outside does not mean that their brain hasn't been impacted on the inside.
Correct. That's the most difficult part. I feel there's several difficult parts, but that's one of the most difficult parts is because people don't see any physical difference in you whatsoever. If you lost an arm or a leg, they'll say, "Oh, you poor thing, let me get the door for you." Or if you're walking around with a cane, "Oh, here, can I help you with your groceries?" All that goes out the window when you have a brain injury because people see you as exactly the same way.
Right.
Sometimes if I'm really tired or really stressed out, I will get into a really bad stutter. That's more physical, and people see that, just kind of like when I do my numbers. But on a good day, you would never even know that there was anything wrong with me.
Right.
The other thing that we're going to talk about is the rest. A lot of people, and I know Ashley, you've probably got this a lot as well, is they'll say, "Why do you sleep so much? Every time I call you, you're sleeping, or every time I turn around, I got to go take a nap." You know, they don't understand, and that gets back to the spoon theory that we did a show about.
Yes,
They don't
go back and watch
understand.
that episode if you haven't.
Yeah, do you remember what episode that was?
No.
Me either.
You can watch the memory episode though, and that explains why we don't remember. But
Right.
go ahead.
We made a playlist. But if you go back and watch that, you'll see that everything that we do requires more energy to do it than, what a normal person, and I hate that word normal person, but that's the only way I know in my brain to differentiate between what we go through and someone that has no brain injury whatsoever.
Well, there's before Ashley and then there's after Ashley. So before Ashley would be okay with like, 7 hours of sleep a night and not needing to nap. Well, after Ashley needs at least 8 hours of sleep a night and not during the work week necessarily, but on weekends, I usually do require, a nap. So it just, daily activities take more time and we require more sleep and rest because of the brain injury.
Not everyone has the luxury like myself. I work from home, and our employer gives us what they call a wellness break. And that's for us to exercise or, go outside, take a walk, what have you, doing something healthy. Well, my version of healthy is trying to regenerate myself so I can keep going for the rest of the day. So I take every 2 hours, I get a break from looking at a screen, and I take that time to go lay down, close my eyes, and shut the world off until it's time for me to go back to work. So that gets me through the entire day.
Wow.
Whereas, Joe Bob from accounting, he can sit there for, the full 8 hours and never, oh, I forgot to take a break today. So that's the most important thing I feel. And I think just about any professional will tell you is rest is the best thing for a brain injury. Our bodies, our brain, I should say, not our whole body, but our brain heals itself as we're resting. So that's a good lead into that. The next topic we're going to discuss is Ashley.
Oh, it's resisting social situations. So I know for me, I'm more of an introvert anyway, but things I haven't been able to do since the concussion are going to a concert or going to a large gathering, of, more than a handful of people, though, I somehow made it through for my wedding back in 2022. But, um, there's just certain things because it's just too stimulating, too many people, too much talking, too much activity. It just exhausts and overwhelms me. So social situations definitely look a lot different now.
Right, and that leads into the next one too is about the overstimulation and all the talking. If you cannot focus on more than one conversation at a time, if you've got two, three, four people talking to you at one time, you know, pre-injured Rob, I could hear enough from each conversation to say, oh, okay, he's talking about this, he's talking about that, what have you. You know, that's all out the window now because now I have to focus completely on what one person is saying, and it takes me. They're already on their fifth topic, and I'm still processing number one.
Mhm.
So that whole focus part is completely out the window at that point. So if you've got two or three people coming at you at once, nobody's getting heard. And that the perception would be he don't give a crap what I'm talking about. Well, that's not true. My brain shut down a long time ago when you guys were on your first point because everyone's coming at you at the same time. And I can't handle that. And
Right.
I'm sure you experience the same thing.
Yes, and it's not even so much just more than one person talking at a time, but if there's like multiple people at a table and people are bouncing back and forth having like a conversation, that can be too much for me too. It's like too many people's input all at once.
It gets to be too overwhelming.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. And I believe you're going to talk about the next topic, right? Yes.
Oh, if you're talking and I ask you to please stop. And the reason I say that is some people are very succinct or brief when they talk. And then there's other people who shall remain nameless, but Rob knows who I'm talking about, and it's not him. Um, will just go on and on and on and on. And our brains just can't handle all that information and it becomes overload and it's just like please stop, I can't take in any more information. So we're really not trying to be rude or cut you off, it's just we can't deal with too much information all at once.
Right. There's a fine line there. If you're explaining something to me, like say if you're telling me to go from point A to point B, tell me how to get from point A to point B. You don't have it's this we're not in a court. You don't have to fight your case. You don't have to bring in witnesses and you know what I'm saying?
Exhibit A, Exhibit
Yeah.
B.
For example, Bob Smith, no, we're not talking about Bob Smith. We want to know how do I get from here to here? That's all
Mhm.
we want to know about. You throw in a lot of extra details. First of all, they're lost on us anyway. And then you're wasting your breath. But there are people out there who have to just, I guess, feel the need to over explain. Is that a good analogy, I guess?
Over explain or just be nonstop talkers.
Truth. Okay, we've covered the talking point. Okay, be patient. That would be you, Ashley.
Oh, yes. Patience is definitely a virtue when it comes to us in so many aspects, in terms of being patient with our memory, lack of memory. I get, you don't remember that happening, or you don't remember me saying that? No, I had testing done. I have short term memory loss. That's not going away. So, no, I'm sorry that I do not remember that, you know? So, yeah, patient with my emotions, because little details that I used to be able to do with no problem, or maybe a task that I used to not get frustrated over, if I get stuck, now I will get frustrated. I might even cry. And it's like, why are you crying over this simple task? Well, I'm just so overwhelmed that the emotional part of the brain goes into overdrive and I just cry.
Hmm. Do you find that you cry more now after your injury than you did before?
Yes.
Yeah, I do too. Um, I was never a person that even cried at anything. Someone dying on TV, I'm there. I'm laughing because I know they're acting.
Hmm.
My wife's in the corner. You know, a whole box of tissues already gone through, crying her eyes out. I'm laughing at her because I'm like, this is fake. Why are you laughing? And now a Folgers commercial comes on and I'm in tears. That never happened to me before. But it is what it is. It's just something that we all have to live with. Which brings us to our closing point: the stuck. If I seem stuck, I am,
Hmm.
and it's because I'm the words just all kind of just like I'm going to describe it as like a filter, a funnel. You know how
Hmm.
you get a funnel and you got all these words that's coming in the funnel at one time, and they just get stuck. And I'm going, uh, I'm trying to say, you know, unfortunately, my wife is fluent in Robbie's, is what we call it at our house.
Yes.
She knows exactly what I'm talking about even before I say it most of the times, and that's scary. But to someone, a cashier out in the store, they're going, huh? Because I'm sitting there going, that round thing, the a bowl, yeah, that. So there's a fine line when you see someone. First of all, you should know, do they want help?
Hmm.
And my family knows that I do want the help. So if I'm struggling, they'll help me out.
Hmm.
But you shouldn't just assume that the person wants to be helped. A great thing to do is say, do you need assistance? Or a politer way to say it. I don't know if that's a polite way. What would you think?
Oh, I was just raising my hand because I'm kind of like, I want help. However, I want you to give me like two or three tries first before you help me, because sometimes just by getting through that, I can figure out what it is. Or if I can't, I realize, oh, I can't. I definitely need help.
Yeah,
But again, brain injuries are very different and impact different parts of our brain. So areas Rob struggles with, I might not necessarily struggle with. So, it also really depends on the person. Some people definitely want the help, and other people, you know, don't want the help, or middle of the road, like I am. Okay, give me a chance to try to do it first. And then if I can't, you're more than welcome to step in. But at least honor my decision to try first, just like honoring your decision to get the help, or honoring someone who's like, no, don't help me. So,
it's a dance. I mean, like you said, everyone is different, and I don't think everyone wants you to immediately jump in and say, "Oh, you're talking about a cup." At least give the person a chance to say, "I'm thinking about a cup." You know, just don't just jump in. If the person wants that help, that's totally different.
mhm.
For us, we have a conversation when we go out to eat. For example, if I'm having a great day, I might say I'm going to try to order myself. But if I'm not having that great of a day, I'll just tell my wife what I want beforehand. So when the waiter or waitress comes to the table to take the order, my wife will say, he's going to have blah, 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 blah. Who cares if they think, well, why is she ordering for him? It's none of their business, unless it's someone that you see regularly. Because I'm sure if you go out to eat frequently, you probably see the same waiter or waitress that waits on your lot. Then you build a rapport with those, and they understand what the situation is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and we're out of topics on that one, but what do you want to close out with today?
Thank you for tuning in, everybody. We are thrilled to be back, and we will see you next time. Have a great night. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Rob, and this is Life Rewired.